What's going on, folks? UFC London Fight Day live chat way earlier than we normally do. So I'm not getting my hopes up in terms of how many viewers and live chatters we're going to get for this segment. But if you're a diehard fan, your ass should already be up. I know East Coasters don't have it as bad. Obviously, it's 11 a.m. over there, 9 a.m. where I'm at, 8 for PST folks, so early for some people. I'm sure the UK folks are happy. UK folks, obviously, this is prime time for them. Fights kick off in about 2 hours' time. So I normally do these fight day live chats from 1 p.m. Eastern to 2 p.m. Eastern because usually cards kick off 4 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Eastern sometimes. But considering it's going down in London this week, I thought I should still do the Fight Day live chat. There's no way I'm going to overlook doing this crucial bit of content, as you know, I believe doing content on Fight Day is very important to connect with the fan base, the viewers, the live chatters, all that stuff. Anybody that has last minute questions, comments, or concerns about the card, I usually have you guys covered. So I didn't want to miss it today. Thus, I got my ass up nice and early, which you guys weren't seeing while that, that 2 minute timer on. And again, this is just inside baseball for content creators. If you ever go live, you want to set a timer because you want some people to start, filing in. Some people do 5 minute timers. Some people do 10 minute timers. I prefer to just do 2 minute timers. Maybe I might change it in the past where I'll start it maybe 5 minutes before the hour and then just get the timer going. But inside baseball, start a timer so you can get some people shuffling in, and then by the time you get going, you have some viewers and you're not just talking to nobody, rather than just hitting go live and starting to talk right away. But what I was trying to get to with my 2 minute timer going on, I'm scarfing down some Eggo waffles. I'm scarfing down a double espresso to get my ass awake, to chat with you guys, bring the energy that you guys are hoping for as well. But yeah, happy to be here, happy to be doing these breakdowns for you guys. It has not been going the greatest this year. Obviously, we've dug ourselves into a little bit of a hole. I think the best event we had was Mario Bautista versus Vinicius Oliveira, which I think was like beginning of November. So it's been a little shitty. We had bright spots with LFA last week, hitting on several dogs. Cage Warriors yesterday was not bad either. We hit our lock of the night play with Connor Patterson and a few other good spots there. I think Christian Soto was our dog of the night play. He hits for us as well. In terms of PFL, the opposite. Mark Ewan goes down in the first round, and that's kind of how the lock of the night plays have been going this year. These guys are just getting clipped, and they're not able to implement their game. So really got to sharpen things up. Obviously, tonight's lock of the night play, Losine Keita has taken a ton of action. We got him minus 200 earlier in the week. Now he's sitting around minus 270. Again, I don't like to read too much into line movement. I usually just make my mind up in terms of who I think is going to win, base it on the odds, and then make plays from there. But, usually if you see a line widen throughout the week, that should help with your confidence. But there's been even Mark Ewan, right, for PFL, I got him at minus 170, closed minus 225, and he still goes out there and gets knocked out. So CLV isn't always the end-all, be-all in terms of whether a play is going to cash or not. But hopefully, Losine Keita comes through for your boy today. And then the free play that I gave out was Axel Sola, which goes perfectly in line with the first question from my guy here, Braden 8187. Personally on Jones and Al Sawadi this week, thoughts on those fights. So I'm assuming you watched the podcast. I think those are the two spots that we may have been head-to-head on. I could be wrong. There's a lot of people commenting on the videos, but I feel like I've seen your name, and those are the two fights that you brought up. I could be wrong, but either way, yeah. And let's talk about both of those matchups. We'll start off with the Jones and Sola fight. Now, Jones is one of my favorite fighters, right? He's tough to deal with because of his durability, because of his ability to push a pace. His grappling is highly underrated, but people are really starting to take notice of how dangerous that can be. For me, it's been his lack of athleticism, how easy it is to hit him sometimes. Also, he can be grinded out too, right? I think the Ludovic Klein fight kind of showed some of that. And obviously, he's improved since his return to the UFC, but I feel like there are still some holes that guys like Axel Sola could potentially take advantage of. Um, I wish I could remember the commenter's name from earlier this week, who had said, I like the Sola pick. Sola seems like the perfect anti Jones fighter, and I have to agree, man. Like the guy has a clean, crisp jab, very clean striking game, long, lanky for the division. He started his UFC career up at 170, but excuse me, that was mainly because if you guys remember that UFC Paris card, we had a handful of UFC newcomers that night. Axel Solo was one of them. Losine Keita was supposed to be one of them. I think one of the KSW champions as well that night, Robert Ruchala, or even Jakub Vikwac was one of the newcomers. But it seemed like late going into that UFC Paris card, like a few weeks before, the UFC decided, hey, let's inject some new talent into this card, guys that are highly touted from the European regional scene, and let's get them into the UFC. And most of those guys, specifically Axel Sola, got the opportunity to make his debut at 170 pounds, whereas Losine Keita was still struggling to go down to 145. He should have accepted a fight at 155. He's bounced between both those divisions. So that's why he ended up missing weight. And obviously you see him make weight this time around, and he looks really good doing so. So it's not like he struggles to get to 145. It's just a lack of time that he had. But getting back to Axel Sola, we saw a good performance from him. And again, I think that was even one of the sloppier performances we saw from him because of the short notice nature of it and it being up at 170 pounds. So I think him back down to 155, we'll see him at his best. I think we'll see a better performance this time around. I think he has good enough defensive grappling to keep Jones away from smashing him there. And then in the striking game, I'd give Sola the slight advantage. I think he's the cleaner striker. Jones is probably the more pressure-heavy fighter, and he kind of makes up for some of the lack of striking defense with that pressure, as a lot of fighters have done in the past. But I think Solo will be able to constantly jab him down the pipe, stick and move, engage in the clinch, showcase that he's the stronger guy as well, and that could potentially cause Jones some issues here. Closely lined fight for a reason, right? This is a fight where it could definitely go either way, but I feel like Sola is the cleaner fighter here. And it hurts me to say that because I'm a big Jones fan. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Jones fight. In terms of the Al Sawadi fight, I've been a big guy on. I thought I've always been bigger on Al Sawadi than most people have in the past, specifically on his Contender Series performance against George Hardwick, right? He came in as a +3, +400 underdog. I felt there was value there. I took a shot on him. Then I think I faded him against Loic Rajabov because I believe there was too much of a swing in terms of Al Sawadi. He's been out for a while. I think it's been 2 years since we've seen him in action. He's dealt with a spine injury as well, which is not a good look, especially when you're such a physical fighter, right? And he's going to be fighting a physical fight here against Shamrock. I think this is kind of a wash in the striking game. Maybe you give a slight edge to Al Sawadi. I think people are giving Rock too much disrespect because of how he got worked by Nurullah Aliyev. But Aliyev is one of the best lightweights on the roster. I think Aliyev will run through Al Sawadi as well. I think it kind of over-exaggerated how bad Shamrock's striking game is. So I think we'll see him maybe look a little bit better there. But I think where he's going to look best is when he can engage in the clinch and really get some solid control time here against Al Sawadi. Both guys, BJJ black belts, but I think Rock has a little bit more finesse, and that could help him get some of these solid spots to grind that spot out. So again, you took the slight favorites there in both those fights. It looks like I took the slight dogs, although I think the Al Sawadi line has switched, right? I think Al Sawadi was roughly -130 earlier this week. Now he's sitting at, I think, +110. Let me just quickly pull up Bet Online here. Obviously, a lot of fight day action usually swings lines one way or the other. Yeah, Shamrock now sitting at -135. We're able to get +105 earlier in the week. And then the Axel Solo line action coming in on Jones. Jones trickling closer to minus 140 compared to the minus 120 he was at earlier in the week. So love going to and fro in both of those matchups. Only Godfather. Appreciate you stopping by, brother. Sat Sri Akal to you as well. Wager Zone in the chat. Good morning, my man. Same. I'm in Jones this weekend. Also, I like Aswell at the. I like Aswell at that underdog price. Got him at plus 240. Now he's down to plus 160. Seems to be getting a lot of love this weekend. He seems to be everybody's favorite underdog. And he was a guy like earlier in the week when I was breaking the fight down. I think he was about plus 230. And that was one where I was like, there's too much love on Luke Riley. You know, there's a lot of hype on him. Aswell is a very efficient fighter, basic, and I don't mean that by an insult, but he's very efficient, right? He sticks out 1-2 down the pipe. He has great cardio, has great durability as well. I just want to see him get a little bit more power. So that's kind of my issue there. And Riley can be hit. Riley's been in wars in Cage Warriors. So coming to the UFC, it's just a matter of time before that kid gets exposed. So if you're able to get plus 240, plus 250, all praise to you. And it seems like a lot of that love is coming in on Aswell earlier this week. He's gone from plus 160 just as I switched over to Bet Online right now. It seems like he's up to plus 180 now. I feel like there's going to be fight day love coming in on Luke Riley. So, yeah, that's something to keep an eye on as the fight card starts to approach here. Wager Zone saying, I've done interviews with Aswell after the Oki fight and Almeida fight, and he sent me his Texas Kid shirt. Nice. So I may be biased, but I like Riley a lot too. Watched him a lot on Cage Warriors, close one. Aswell looks like a cool dude. I will say this. I think it was after his Contender Series fight against Bogdan Grad. It could have been a Michael Aswell impersonator, but I've, doing this for as long as I have, I've had fighters come and comment under one of my some of my videos where I'm breaking down their fights. The ones that stand out the most, Sasha Palatnikov came and after I picked against him, I forgot who it was. I think it was his Orion or Louis Cosi fight. He came in and he goes, "You don't know jack shit." And then I commented back, I'm like, you got him. You know what I mean? You got him. All praise to you. And then it was funny because I believe I was actually live at his next fight where he got submitted quickly by Ramiz Brahimaj. So it was a little bit bittersweet for me, to lose on him and then have him comment. And then obviously he wasn't going to comment again when he lost to Brahimaj. Benny Orozco, who I called as a big LFA underdog the other week, he commented, posted on his IG, all that stuff, showed me all the love, posted a clip of me, saying that he'd pull off the upset over Jacoby Jones. That was cool. But the reason I brought this up is because I believe Michael Aswell came to my Contender Series video when he went up against Bogdan Grad and lost that night. And he said, good call on this or something like that. And as soon as I saw him, like, man, you had a really good performance. You will eventually be in the UFC, and here he is in the UFC. So I can absolutely understand, him being a good guy and sending you that stuff. But Aswell is a good dude. I hope he wins. I personally am not backing him. We'll see. Braden in the chat saying, just on Jones this week, as I thought his win against Oki surviving the power was quite impressive. So that's interesting. The question is, if Sola hurts Jones, can Sola put him away? Right? You don't want to bank on a guy because of his, sure, you want to take battling back from adversity in some cases into factor. And obviously we know Jones can do that through and through, right? There's been so many fights where he's been hurt and, come back and won. But at a certain point, that's going to stop happening. So it's the fact that he gets hit as often as he does. Oki a little bit more wild, but Sola is clean. He's technical. He might be able to find that shot to put Jones away. Who knows? Maybe he's the first one to get that knockout finish. But that's one thing that kind of worked against my thought against Jones is that I just don't like his hit ability. Like how his striking defense is a little bit poor at times. And that's scar tissue, right? This guy bleeds very easily. That's not going to look good for the judges should this fight hit the scorecards. Braden said, also think that Rock's last performance against Ali was very disappointing. He expected him to lose from the grappling, but he was getting pieced up pretty bad on the feet along with the grappling. Yeah, Rock's never been a great striker. He's more of a grappler, right? So going into that fight, it was just a bad stylistic matchup for him. He's not going to out wrestle Nurul Aliev. The best shot he had to win that fight was either to hurt him with a Hail Mary shot or engage in the clinch and somehow get to Aliev's back and then get that body triangle in. It was just he was a plus 230 underdog that night. And again, people want to shit on Aliev's striking, like this guy can't strike at all because they know him as a grappler. But guys can make those improvements, right? Especially with the threat of the takedown there, it opens up the striking game more than people believe it, right? Because as Rock, you're expecting this guy to go out there and level change and shoot for takedowns, so you're kind of just waiting for that, and then before you know it, you're getting hit with a combination when you're expecting a level change and a guy to go to your feet. So Aliev's not a complete dud on the feet. The threat of the takedown definitely makes him a better striker than people believe him, and it's clear that he's working on his striking game. So again, it's all styles. I don't think Rock will be as scared of the takedowns here from Al Sawadi because I think he'll be confident that he could possibly even out grapple Al Sawadi even from bottom. So yeah, that will be an interesting factor to take into consideration for this matchup. JK in the chat saying, how do you feel Sam and Paige to start round 2? That's a tough one. What the way that I see the fight playing out, we see a little bit of striking, feeling out process. I think we see Sam start to go to grappling about halfway through that first round. I think Paige defends it. I think we get to round 2, and then I think we see Sam start to accept that he might not be able to get the takedown on Paige, so he'll try to strike with him, or at least be a little bit more willing to engage in the striking. And then I think he makes a mistake and Paige clips him down the pipe. That could happen that could all happen in round 1. I think it ends up happening in round 2. Not a whole lot of confidence there. I think Paige ends up countering him and putting him out. That's my honest assessment of that fight. Wager Zone saying, same, I'm on Rock too. People always lose some bets on fighters as big favorites, then hop off on the next matchup and we get a good price, buying stock low. Same with Pitbull and Talbot. Yeah. Talbot, it's a perfect example of that. Rock was a big underdog against Aliev anyway, but I know what you mean. People just swing the pen. Like, Patchy Mix was the same way, right? People were huge on him when he made his debut against Mario Bautista. Then they sell on him in the next fight against Jakub Vikwac. I still believed in Mix, and he still ended up losing. But, like, I get what you mean. There is that fight to fight. So even Christian Leroy Duncan, right? This weekend, he was plus 170 or something like that against fucking Marco Tulio, and we cashed a big ticket on him that night. And now he's minus 400 against Roman Dolidze. So that's the thing with the MMA betting game, right? There's a lot of short-mindedness, a lot of recency bias, a lot of, goldfish thoughts for anybody that watches Ted Lasso, right? There's a lot of that just short memory, forget what just happened a few seconds ago and just bet on what happened in the last fight. Take a macro view of these fighters and look at what they've put together. Don't overlook everything else from their career just because of one performance. Braden's saying, I do really like your lock of the week pick. Lock of the night. I know there's a lot of people saying lock of the week, but the name is lock of the night. And I'm glad that nobody else has really, taken that. Usually people go with dog of the week or dog of the day or whatever the hell. Lock of the night is your boy. And we got to get that shit back on track this week, folks. I am crying for some confidence here, and I feel like today will be that day we get it. I'm a big fan of Wood, especially after the Delgado fight, but I think that guys who win a lot as underdogs aren't free money glitches, and this, as it seems, this is another interesting spot, right? I know a lot of people that were willing to take, or were taking the chalk on Jose Delgado last time around, and overlooked Wood. I believe I bet Wood and took Wood that night, and we were able to cash that ticket. The difference between Delgado and Keita, Delgado might be a little bit slicker, but Keita carries insane fucking power, and Wood normally gets clipped in his fights and dropped. There's been numerous fights where he's been hurt and nearly put away. Obviously, John Dodson was the last one, I think, to actually knock him out. Keita has that type of power, and I think we'll see that today. Keita also has much more experience fighting at high levels or high-ish levels compared to what Jose Delgado was facing. So I think people will be surprised. I think people just see Wood winning last time around against a guy that normally goes out there and finishes people, but then underrating what Keita can actually do. We see this often where, like, just for example, and I've been caught with, with this mind of thinking as well. Cyril Gane, for example, let's just take him as an example. Goes out there, gets out grappled by John Jones and Francis Ngannou, and then goes up against Sergey Spivak, and he's able to stop the takedowns and beat him on the feet. So the line of thinking that I'm saying there is that people are going to hone in on the fact that Cyril Gane showed poor takedown defense against Ngannou and Jones, and automatically think that Spivak's going to get the takedowns. I got caught in that thinking too. But there are levels to the grappling and levels to the striking and levels to knockout power. So the relation I'm trying to make here is that, sure, Gane got out-grappled by those two guys, but he wasn't going to get out-grappled by Spivak, who's not that athletic, can't really secure takedowns against guys that can move as well as Gane or as strong as Gane. And for Wood, sure, he's going to get hurt and clipped by Delgado, but even though he pulled off the upset, that doesn't automatically mean he's going to be able to eat the shots of Keita and be able to still get to his game. I think Keita will land those shots, and the difference will be he carries much more power than a guy like Jose Delgado. So I think that's kind of my line of thinking for tonight's fight. Fingers crossed that ends up coming through. Yeah. There are a few guys that often come up as dogs that I do like to back. Wood sometimes is that guy, but every matchup is subjective. Every matchup is a different stylistic matchup. Wager Zone saying same here. I think he's talking about Michael Haswell. Commented on my Contender Series breakdown of the Grad fight where I picked Grad, and this weekend Orozco commented on my video. Nice. What did Orozco say? Did you pick Orozco? But no, Orozco's an absolute beast, man. I was happy to share a few messages with him in the DMs on IG. The guy's an absolute beast. Wager Zone saying, sorry for misspelling. I'm at work until 2 p.m. PST. We'll miss the premiums. Ouch. Sorry, brother. Well, I appreciate you while you're on the clock actually chilling with your point here. That's a true viewer right there. Much appreciated, my guy. Brayden saying, thank you. Got some good points for Sola. Considering flipping my pick now. Big plus that he is bigger as well. Yeah. And again, I often say this. I do my best to give you guys as much information, as much facts as possible. And obviously my prediction. But at the end of the day, I still push you guys to, again, do your homework, do your gathering of information, if that even means going to different predictors and analysts and hearing what they have to say about fights, and then coming to your own conclusion. So if there is something that I'm able to bring up that you were kind of overlooking or didn't hear or didn't expect, we'll see. But yeah. Good luck. Hopefully Sola does cash. Wager Zone saying, didn't mean the odds on Rock, my bad. I meant the hype. Got you. You're right. Yeah, there was a lot of hype on Rock. What time do prelims start for El Paso? What time zone is El Paso? El Paso is currently 9:30, so the fights should start in an hour and a half. Prelims start in an hour and a half. Would you favor Keita for an early finish or late finish / decision? I'd say finish. I want to say early finish. It could potentially be a late finish as well. I'd kind of be surprised if it ends up hitting the scorecards, but I'm going to say early finish. Excuse me. Wasabi Poppy. Love that name. Appreciate you stopping by here. Hope you're having a great week. What do you think about Leroy Duncan and Evloev? Week's been decent. Obviously, the predictions could be a little bit better. So hopefully today is a good sign of things turning around. So early in the week, I really like Christian Leroy Duncan. This guy is one that I've been bigger on than most people in the past. I see his evolution. I see that he is gets through and he's getting more comfortable in the clinch. He's getting a little bit more comfortable with pressure. But as fight week has gone on, I just have this weird thing in the back of my head that we're going to constantly see Dolidze pressuring. And if his chin holds up, maybe Duncan breaks under that pressure. I'm not on the point where I'm going out there and predicting Dolidze to win or even suggesting that you should take Dolidze. I've went from possibly parlaying Duncan to just passing on that fight all around. I think Duncan wins still. But I think this will be his first fight since the Rodriguez fight where he's going to face legitimate pressure against a guy that has decent durability and is just aggro as fuck, right? Like, Dolidze, technically speaking, not a great fighter, but just his ability to just go out there and fight is how he beat Marvin Vettori, how he beat Kevin Holland, even though Holland, I think Holland really broke in that fight, and Anthony Smith. But those three names that I listed, I don't think are at the level that Christian Leroy Duncan is at currently. And I mean, like, in the prime of their career, looking as good as they do, as nasty of a striker as they are. So that's where I have the hold up in terms of giving Dolidze enough credit. Still picking Duncan to win, but not as much confidence as I had earlier in the week. And Evloev, I like Evloev. People want to say that Murphy is this crazy good knockout striker. I don't think so. Obviously we saw him put Pico out, but I think that had a lot to do with Pico's nerves and just how tense the guy was. The guy just constantly crashed the pocket, looking for takedowns, looking to land big shots, and he just ended up walking himself into a spinning back elbow. Evloev is like water, right? Like, this guy flows very well. This guy does a great job with, finding his openings for the level changes, initiating the clinch, wearing guys down, unlimited cardio. And we've seen Murphy get put in bad spots. I know Murphy's undefeated, but there are some fights where you go back and look and see that they're more competitive than you would have expected them to be, especially against the guys like undefeated like Murphy, right? Josh Emmett was able to steal a few rounds off of him. Dan Ige had it 1-1 going into the third round and nearly won that fight as if Murphy didn't scramble out of one of those bad positions. And is he going to out-scramble fucking Movsar Evloev? Sure, if Murphy lands another crazy Hail Mary shot, praise to him, right? Hats off, credit. But I think Evloev is just too clean, too durable, and too tough, and crazy good gas tank to come up short in this fight. So I'd be surprised if Evloev drops the ball here. Best UFC dogs. Appreciate you stopping by. Why the fuck do I keep getting Blue Chew ads? There should be no ads on this video. When I set up the live stream, it gives you an option to, like, do you want to put auto ads in your thing? I'm like, no. Why would I want ads to just randomly pop up for you guys, to stop the video? I think that's what it is, right? I think it would just stop the video, play an ad, and then come back to the video. No, we got an hour. I'm making the most of the hour. I'm not playing any ads. I want to communicate with you guys as much as possible. My guy, Best UFC Dogs, is likes to be a funny guy. Anshul Jubilee sleeps K10 round 1. We'll see. Wager Zone saying, nah, I picked Jones. Oh, this is the Orozco comment. He's commented and said, easy work, but I scheduled an interview with him in the DM for next Thursday. He's really good. I picked him in the fight against Lewis. I don't know why Jones. Yeah, I picked him against Lewis as well. I was surprised at Lewis's gas tank, Richie Lewis, his gas tank, and ability to keep Orozco in those bad spots. But Orozco said he wants to go down to 145. He seemed undersized against Jones. And he's not a guy to turn down fights because of size either, right? We saw him fight. The way I came across him originally was when he went up against Anthony Orozco on Cage Warriors a few years back. I think I still picked him that night because I thought he was just more experienced and a better overall fighter. But the size and the wrestling of Anthony was just too much for Benny to keep up with that night. So I'm glad Benny's getting the love now after that big win over Jacoby Jones. I'm hoping that LFA or Cage Warriors ends up bringing him back, gives this guy a platform. And, he deserves, he's only coming off of one win because of that loss to Richie Lewis, but he deserves a shot on the Contender Series, man. This guy is a nasty fighter. He's almost like Marab Light, but more aggressive with the BJJ. The guy loves his rear naked chokes. So, yeah, I will always be a Benny Orozco fan. Shout out to my guy Wasabi Poppy jumping on to the watch party buddies. I will be back. I still got another half an hour with you guys, so don't worry about that. But the watch party buddies YouTube membership is to have access to the live chat during the live watch party. So everybody can watch the watch party, but you have to be a watch party buddy to take part in the comment section, just so I don't have to worry about dumbasses coming into the chat. We can chill, we can watch the fights, we can comment, talk back and forth. Appreciate you hopping onto that, and hopefully able to see you during the fights when they kick off in about an hour and a half. We'll be live from the first prelim fight all the way to the main event. Whether we get reverse swept on the plays or not, I'm going to be live the entire time, and you can watch my either roller coaster of emotions. Either we go all the way up each time or all the way down each time. We'll be running through it together. So I appreciate you, Wasabi Poppy. Love the name again. Mainly because of Champagne Poppy. And if you don't know who Champagne Poppy is, can't be friends. DJ Promethazine Cayenne. DJ, I like that name. Let's make a parlay. What's your best knockout prop and best submission prop for a parlay? Ooh, I like this question. Let's see. I'll give you two. I'll give you one that I would say I'd have a little bit of confidence in. Again, it's tough to have uber confidence on a half cycle parlay like that of sort. I'll give you one that's just a crazy long shot, and then one that's actual that I have decent enough confidence in. We're gonna go for our knockout. I'm gonna go Losin Keita. I think that guy just has insane knockouts, insane knockout power. I think he'll be able to clip Nathaniel Wood, and he'll put him away. In terms of a submission, well, I think the interesting thing is or the critical thing is to highlight which fighters you think would win by submission in the first place. So I think Chanel Dyer is a long shot to win by submission. Shamrock is a possibility by submission. Curtis Campbell, possible by submission. Iwo Berenuski, possible by submission. Again, people just know Berenuski because he goes out there and flatlines a guy. Excuse me. Flatlines a guy on the Contender Series in 16 seconds, and then the crazy war that he had against Ibo Aslan. What they fail to realize, if you watch his pre-UFC tape, this guy more often than not takes guys to the ground and then smashes them from on top. So that kind of makes the submission and KO prop 50-50 at that point. If your primary form of knocking or finishing somebody is by taking them to the ground, it's possible Berenuski can get the finish as well. So I throw Berenuski in there as well. Did I count Berenuski on my hand yet? Dyer, Rock, Campbell, Berenuski. So 4 of those guys. Out of the 4 of them, who is my long shot and who is my somewhat confident? Fuck, this is a tough one. I'm going to put Rock. I'll put Rock as my... So I'll go Losin Keita by knockout and Shamrock by submission. You throw those two together... Oh, yeah, you can't fucking parlay props on Bet Online anymore. Let me go to one of my other sites. Let's go to Ozune or Bodog. Let me get you the actual number on that. So I said Shamrock by submission. which is plus 400. And then Keita by knockout. Let's see the number we're getting here. Keita by knockout is plus 160. So putting Keita by knockout and Rock by submission together, you're getting plus 1,200. So that's something to consider there. And then for more of a like a wackier one, probably I'd consider more of a long shot. I'd put excuse me. I'd put the Dyer submission, Chanel Dyer by submission. Again, this is crazy long shot. Chanel Dyer by submission, that's sitting at plus 900 on Ozun, which used to be Bodog. And then another knockout prop. I don't want to use Keita again, but Keita is probably my favorite knockout prop on the card. I want to say Contra to Vicious, but you're getting like minus money on that knockout prop, I'm sure. Yeah, minus 185. Whatever, fuck it. Yeah, Dyer by submission, Contra to Vicious by knockout, plus 1440. So hopefully that scratches your itch, Mr. Who is it that asked that question? DJ Promethazine Cayenne. Braden saying, adjusting some of my topology picks right now, you think Sola gets it done by decision or finish? I think he gets it done by decision. Wasabi Poppy saying, I had to renew my membership. I was in the first few watch party chats as JB, but I changed my name to my social media handle. Sweet. Maybe I'll have to give you a follow there as well. Appreciate the love. Dr. Carl Trost. Man, I'm trying to tell myself don't bet Murphy, but then I see them next to each other. Again, Evloev has never been like a big featherweight, so I don't think size will have too much to do with it. Like Dan Ige is not a big featherweight either, and he was able to get takedowns on Lerone Murphy. So if it's size that you worry about, I don't think that's something to worry too much about. Is really just going to accept getting dominated or strike like a called coiled spring again, and maybe that's his new thing now. I don't think he's going to accept getting dominated. I think he's going to provide resistance. The issue is, will he be able to provide enough resistance to get to his striking? I don't think so. I think similar to what I was saying about Shamrock in his debut against Nurullo Aliyev, the threat of the takedown could possibly muzzle and keep Murphy away from getting off on too many strikes. Even if he is coiled again and just waiting for that opportunity to land a spinning back elbow, I don't think Evloev will fall onto something like that. Also, Evloev doesn't really fight like that, right? Like Evloev flows a little bit more. With Pico was just going out there to try to kill Murphy. He was just stalking in him and landing, just so tense. That's not Evloev. Evloev will wait for his opportunities to engage in the clinch, and then from there, ride the back a little bit, find those trips, find those throws, find those takedowns. And again, Murphy probably won't accept getting dominated early, but as we get into deeper water and he finds it harder and harder to utilize energy to get out of those spots, that's where we see him kind of settle into just accepting that he's going to lose. But it's going to be, I don't think that'll happen until the third or fourth round. I could be wrong, but I really think Evloev should get the job done here. Dan the Man, happy to see you in the chat here, my friend. Do you think Carolina will be cut after this weight miss? Oh, for sure. They barely kept Kelvin Gastelum on the roster. I know that guy's going to be a UFC lifer without no matter what. But like to force, there've already been a handful of fights that Carolina has forced to be canceled on the scales during fight week. She's missed weight numerous times at 125 pounds. They forced her to 135. She made the weight last time against Michelle Montague, but to miss weight by a full division this time around, I'm sure, maybe she probably got to like 41 or something like that. 141. She's supposed to make 135 or 100. Yeah, 135. She probably got to 141. She probably fainted. She probably had some sort of medical episode and she had to get some electrolytes into her body. Hence why she weighed in at 144. But it's still not a good look. And I think the UFC will cut her. She's nobody to them, right? I'd be surprised if they hold on to her. Wager Zone saying, have a good day, boss. Is that work now? I gotta go. Good luck on the fights, and hopefully you get to enjoy at least the main card. Wager Zone saying, Keita KO, Campbell sub, as well as decision, plus 1,000. There's your cycle parlay if you like. Keita, Braden saying, Keita KO, Rock sub, solo points, plus 45.65 on FanDuel. That's not bad. Yeah. I will say this. My official method of victory prediction for Rock is decision. But, like, I'd say, again, you're putting a gun to my head. I think he is the most likely on this card to get a submission. Dyer would be my other one, but she's like a full-on long shot, right? Plus 900. I was able to get plus 1,000 on a Sports Interaction, or they had that. Dr. Carl Tro saying, but Evloev leaves small openings and Murphy seems like he has a survival kind of viciousness. Yeah, it's a different process than Pico for sure, but I think Murphy has bigger potential for explosive accuracy than Allen or Lopez. I think this version of Lopez, like what we're seeing now, would probably be more dangerous than what Murphy can do right now. Back then, Lopez was still just, he just made his UFC debut, short notice, more of a submission guy. So he's definitely more dangerous now than he was when he made that short notice debut. Again, when you look at it from, I've been saying it throughout the stream, and I'm not sure if you were here earlier in the stream, but when you look at it more from a macro perspective, which is what you should most be doing, right? You don't want to just go off of one performance because one guy got a crazy big knockout, right? How many fights have we seen where like a guy gets absolutely starched one night and then in the next fight, his durability holds up the full 15 or 25 minutes? But for Murphy, so he's been in the UFC since September 2019. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 fights he's had with the UFC. He's produced finishes in 1, 2, 3 of those fights. Now let's dissect those 3 fights, right? The Hikaru Ramos fight, nasty ground and pound finish. I remember that one. That was pretty good. The Makwan Amir Khani fight, that's one where Makwan, I believe, just threw himself into a takedown and got kneed to shit. And we know Makwan. If you remember Makwan, heavy grappler, wood gas, and then get finished. That's exactly what happened in the Lerone Murphy fight. And that was October of 2021. So we're talking, 5 years ago. And then obviously the Aaron Pico one. That one, again, Pico, super tense, super stalkerish, kind of just walked himself into that shot. And I think he was just feeling a lot of the pressure of his UFC debut that night. Whereas Evloev, that guy doesn't make mistakes all that often, right? Even when he finds himself in deep submissions like he was against Lopez, this guy has that Alexander Volkanovski gene where he just doesn't tap. He trusts in his lungs. He trusts in his breathing. He trusts in his technique that he'll eventually be able to work out of those positions. Again, knockout power doesn't give you the option of working out of a spot, right? If you get rocked, sure, he might have the wherewithal to clamp onto a takedown attempt and have the ability to get his cobwebs back together and chain wrestling attempts together, unless Murphy just lands clean enough. But that's mixed martial arts, right? You never know when that big shot is going to hit. We saw it last night with Fabian Edwards. And that's something I quickly want to touch on before we get deeper into the comments here, or at least give time to the comments to pile up. It was very surprising to see Fabian Edwards get knocked out like that. Those elbows didn't even seem that hard. And how many times have we seen guys eat elbows from that position and then just, boost into that takedown attempt a little bit more and complete it? Because if the defender is striking, that leaves more opportunities for the offensive fighter to actually push for a takedown or push for something in that grappling exchange. But like those elbows land and Fabian Edwards' chin goes out. You can never predict whether a guy is going to be able to eat a shot or not. History has shown us that Evloev never been knocked out. Let me just confirm. I I don't think he's ever been knocked down either. I could be wrong on that. Let me just, at least in the UFC, let me double check that. Not a single knockdown landed against him either. So, in terms of heavy hitters that he's faced, Sung Choi, decent hitter. Barzola wasn't a hitter. Grundy wasn't a hitter. Lentz wasn't a hitter. Duadu was a striker, not a big hitter. Dan Ige, underrated power at times, but he got completely dominated. Diego Lopez is believing in his power more. Allen, not a big hitter either. So I'd put Lerone in the level of like Arnold Allen type knockout. Like Movzar has not fought like a Josh Emmett type knockout power, a Kevin Vallejos type knockout power. So we'll probably get those questions answered that time around. But in this one, if Murphy gets the knockout, it is what it is. History shows us that Evloev should be able to eat his shots. Racco 4000 in the chat saying, is Volk getting the winner of tonight's main event? He should. I know there's been rumblings that John Silva will probably get the next shot. Popularity-wise, I can understand it, but at what point are we going to just accept the most popular fighter getting the shot? Right? We have to have some order here. The UFC was built on giving fans the fights that they want. Sure, John Silva might be able to have a little bit more people that want him to fight, but like at a certain point, the best have to fight the best. And Evloev is the best. So, yeah, Volk must fight the winner here. Dr. Carl Trost saying, I might feel silly for overthinking. That is generally a better way to make correct determinations for 80% of fights, keeping the broader perspective, but feels like that 20%. It's possible. It's possible. That's why we enjoy this game so much, because you never know what could actually... You can do as much research and, lean on trends, lean on facts and all that stuff, but like something quick could happen that nobody could ever predict, and that's the result we get. Those are those moments that we kind of live for. So maybe not as a bettor, but as a fan, sure. And I will say this, when I do the watch party stuff, I go from being, once the fights start, my analyst cap is off. My fan cap is on. I am just sitting, watching the fights. I won't be getting all fucked up today. I want to get some researching done for UFC Seattle later tonight. I got a bunch of archive work that I need to have prepared for this coming week. So I won't be getting all fucked up on the on the watch stream this time around, but I will be watching it as a fan. Whatever happens, happens. If my lock of the night play doesn't come through, hopefully it's because of something spectacular happening and not a shitty decision loss or something like that. But yeah, I am a fan first once the fights start. Before the fights, leading up to the fights, I'm a content creator. I am an analyst. So, yeah. Matthew Tyler saying, hey, appreciate you stopping by, my friend. Any significant line movements today? Good question. Let's quickly run through the card here. Chanel Dyer continues to take more action. She's up at minus 570. Shamrock has flipped to being the favorite now, roughly around minus 135, although I think that happened last night. It seems like Sutherland Love has slowly been coming in throughout the week with Pericic. I think he was about minus 300 early in the week. Now he sits at minus 250. Contra to Vicious has gone from like minus 600 to minus 1,000. Mario Pinto has roughly stayed at minus 900 all week. Losin Keita has taken a ton of action during fight week, going from about minus 200 to minus 270 now. Jones taking little action over the last couple of days, going from about minus 120 to minus 140. Curtis Campbell taking action as well. I think he was about minus 220-ish early in the week, now minus 270. Christian Leroy Duncan, I think he was about minus 310 at the beginning of the week, now minus 400. Iwo Beranuski, I think he was about minus 600, now minus 700. Michael Page's line has pretty much stood still, minus 185 this entire time. So, Yeah. Luke Riley gone from about minus 300 down to, I think he had like minus 190 yesterday. Now he's back up to minus 210. And then Movsar Evloev, same with him. He's been about minus 220, went up to minus 270, I thought, either yesterday or the day before, and now back down to minus 235. So I'd say the biggest line movement that's sustained throughout fight week is probably Losin Keita. Good question there, Matthew Taylor. I love analyzing the line movement on fight day as well. Braden saying, think Ivloev is a problem in this division with the win over Murphy. Do you think he gets a shot next? Yeah, just touching on that. He deserves the title shot through and through. That guy deserves a goddamn title shot. If he wins tonight, obviously. If Murphy wins, Murphy deserves the shot. You know, I love Gene Silva. Very entertaining fighter. Maybe give him the loser of this matchup. That could be a good way to go about it. Or maybe do Gene Silva against Kevin Vallejos as the next number one contender. That's possible as well. I know we got Diego Lopez and Steve Garcia fighting at the White House. Maybe if Garcia wins, maybe we do Gene Silva versus Garcia for number one contender. But yeah. West Coast saying, I'm not disappointed. I don't know what you're referring to, but is what it is. Kamar, appreciate you stopping by. Any sort of significant damage or injuries on the winner tonight is the only reason I see Gene getting the next shot. Other than that, winner tonight should get it. Good point. I don't know if they already have a date circled for Volk to make his return. If they want to get him on the International Fight Week card, he's usually been on that card. I'm kind of talking out of my ass. I feel like he's been on at least one of those cards. And that card is, just less than 4 months away. So yeah, if nobody takes significant damage, it's possible. But they should give the winner enough time to work through whatever injuries, unless it's something significant that requires surgery. They should definitely give them time to recoup and then get a full training camp. Best UFC Dog said Riley went from minus 310 to minus 198. Yep, that's right. Matthew saying, I have a hot take. In my head, I see a possible outcome that MVP gets steamrolled by Patterson. I don't think he's going to slow the showboating game with him. He's going to play the showboating game. I think he will. Like, he always showboats no matter who he goes up against. The showboating is a part of his game, though, right? Like, he kind of tries to goat guys into throwing an ill-advised shot, and I think that will cause him or allow him to open up that counter that could probably land against Patterson. Fun fight, though. Very, very fun fight. I'm interested to see what the approach is for Patterson. I'm sure he's going to try to grapple at a certain point, but I think MVP has good enough takedown defense at 170. Even the Ian Machado-Gary fight, I know he got out-grappled in that fight, but as we start to get into deep water, like, I think Gary won round 1 from grappling. Round 2, I thought MVP won. And then round 3, I remember because I had a big play on Ian Gary that night. He was holding on to MVP's back for dear life, and MVP was almost out of that position. Can Patterson do something similar? I don't know. We'll see. It's an interesting stylistic matchup, but I still see MVP getting the win there. Braden saying might be a bit early, but thoughts on an early two-legger for UFC Seattle, Sterling versus Bahamondes. So I've only gotten through 2 fights for that Seattle card so far. That's the main event, where I hate to say it, but I'm going Joe Pyfer. I always fade Joe Pyfer, but I feel like at a certain point he's going to land a big shot to finish Izzy, or I think he's a strong enough grappler to maybe even get him down. So Bahamondes minus 300 against Musaev. I pre-tape Aline with that. And then what's the other one? Sterling? Oh, Navajo Sterling against Bruno Lopez. Yeah, I could see that. Well, you're getting a pretty chalky line there, though, right? You can't parlay this early on Bet Online. Let's see on Ozone what number you can get there. Sterling is minus 460 and Bahamondes is minus 300. You're getting minus 161. Not too bad of a line, depending on how much confidence you have there. Yeah. I don't mind it. Pre-tape, I don't mind that. I should be done that card Well, I probably won't finish it entirely tonight. I should get through most of it tonight and then have it posted to the Patreon page. But then Monday I'll have my breakdowns out, so guys can definitely hear it out there. Amos Valdez saying, I'm leaning on a heavy parlay. Keita knockout, like it. Curtis inside the distance, I like it. Brando KO, I think that's what happens, but very low confidence in that fight. We're going to be celebrating this W soon. Good luck, my friend. I hope that comes through for you. Those are all three methods of victory that I'm predicting. I'd say in confidence, I'd say Kato KO is my highest confidence, Curtis second, and then Brando last. That Brando and Sutherland fight, it rubs me the wrong way, man. It's I could see Sutherland pulling off an upset too. Prediction is Brando by knockout, but still, definitely something to keep an eye on. Sutherland by decision at plus 900. That's not a bad hedge. Evloev is the enclave of featherweight, pretty much. That guy needed there's Bilal Muhammad, Magomed Ankalaev, and Movsar Evloev. They just have to go out there and get fucking 50,000 wins to deserve a title shot from the UFC, apparently. John Pham saying, how come UFC hasn't come to Los Angeles? What do you mean? They've gone plenty of times. Maybe not this year. I don't know if they're going to go this year. I know you guys are getting the Rousey and Carano card, the Netflix card. That's coming in May at the Intuit Dome. I think that's LA, right? JK saying, I'm going to be at UFC Seattle. Fuck yeah, man. That's awesome. Yeah, that's not a bad card. That's really not a bad card. Just quickly looking at it, Ricky Simone, I think he's a Seattle native, right? He's going up against Adrian Yanez. Sterling Lopez is a good fight. O'Neal Fernandez is not a bad women's fight. Tybura versus Fortune. Very surprised that Fortune's in the UFC, by the way. Lance Gibson Jr., another Seattle native, going up against Hooper, which I believe is an Oregon native. Seattle, Oregon. Seattle, Washington. What am I talking about? I'm getting my states all mixed up. Bahamundez Musayev should be fun. Pfeiffer and Adesanya should be fun. Nelson and McKinney is always going to be a car crash. Any McKinney fight is a car crash. Abdul Malik versus Belgarui. Interesting fight there. Lorian Douglas against Julian Rosa. Alexa Grasso versus Macy Barber. Solid fight card all around. You should be in for a treat for sure. All right, I'll take these last couple questions here, and then I'm going to get out of here. But again, reminder, I will be back at the beginning of the prelims, which will be an hour from now. I'll be back for the watch party buddies. So if you guys want to hang, make sure you guys come through for that as well, and we'll watch the fights together. And, don't have to be a part of the thousands and thousands of people that watch MMA Guru stream or whatever they have. At least I'll be able to read your questions and comments and all that stuff. MVP will showboat, but I'm saying Patterson is going to play along with it. I'm definitely biased because Patterson has won me some good money. I think he is underrated, and he's on a streak. That's why he's deserved this opportunity as well. Whoever wins, don't they have to do it in an impressive way to get a title shot? Kind of. I could see that angle. But at a certain point, you have to give credence to an undefeated fighter, right? No matter who wins tonight, they're going to be undefeated with at least 10 plus wins in the UFC. You got to give it to them. B Cameo saying Danny Silva plus Riley by finish. Interesting. Danny Silva by finish is a new one. Good luck. JK saying Chase Hooper. Yeah, he's from there. Last Seattle card was disappointing. Thank God I didn't go. I think that was Cejudo and Song, right? Was that the last Seattle card, which was last February? UFC 328 is close to me, but tickets are too rich for my blood. Where's 328? Is that Miami? Oh, Newark, New Jersey. Yeah, tickets are stupid expensive nowadays. Even the Winnipeg card that they got, holy shit. For a card headlined by Mike Malott and Gilbert Burns, you want to pay $200 plus for nosebleeds? No thanks. John Pham saying, kind of crazy if the UFC doesn't come to Los Angeles this year. Yeah, I guess they should do California at least once a year, right? All right, I'm going to call it now on the live stream. Again, I'll be back in an hour to do the watch party. So if you guys want to watch the fights with your boy, make sure you guys come over for that. Again, the live chat is paid. You can watch the stream, but to take part in the live chat, it's only $2 a month. But usually I gift 5 memberships after the second fight. So if you're in the live stream, it's possible you might be able to get one of those gifted memberships. But again, even $2 a month for 2 live streams to watch the fights a month, I don't think is all too bad, to ensure that the live stream is with guys that actually give a fuck and will have a good time. So if you want to come through for that, I'll see you guys then. Otherwise, I will see you guys on Monday for the MMA Lawcast, breaking down the entire UFC Seattle card. Good luck on all your action tonight, folks, and I will see you guys again about in an hour. Long live Losine Keita. Get that dub in your UFC debut, please. See you guys in an hour. Later.